Puts him, sets him with the...
Ah!
Oh! Best pre-workout ever right here.
What is it?
Coffee.
And cocaine.
Pepsi with coffee?
Yeah.
Old Cali muscle?
Yeah, but Cali muscle. One of these days, I might have to get Nancy and try.
So they told me, they're like, don't bring any food, we'll provide food for you. I get there like, yeah, we're gonna have pizza and salad, guys. And I'm like, motherfuckers.
So, it's about this dude in Transylvania, a bartender, just going about his normal shift, late at night, and suddenly a vampire bursts through the door, flies in and sits down at the bar stool, and he goes, "Bartender, I want a glass of blood." Bartender looks at him a little weird, he goes, "Okay." So he serves him his glass of blood, the vampire drinks it, flies out the door. Bartender, still same night, working same shift, another vampire flies in through the door, sits down at the bar stool, just like the first one, orders a glass of blood. Vampire serves him, he drinks his blood, he's on his way. Third vampire flies into the bar, sits down at the bar stool. And the bartender goes, "Let me guess, you want a glass of blood?" He goes, "No, I would like a cup of hot water." Bartender looks a little confused and goes, "You know what, okay, fine." He serves him a glass of hot water. And as he's serving the glass of hot water, he asks the vampire, "You know, I had two vampires come in here earlier tonight, they wanted blood. You come in here, you want a glass of hot water. What's the deal?" And as he's talking, the bartender's talking to the vampire's rummaging through his pockets and pulls out a bloody tampon and goes, "I'm in the mood for tea."
You son of a bitch. Good to see you back with Weight Supremacy. I am Leah Jung, and we're on our second week of training vlogs. I'm going to try my darndest to get at least 2 training vlogs up for you every single week moving forward. Now, I do train more than 2 days per week, of course, but since my time is currently a bit limited, I have chosen to share my chest and back days with you, at least for now. But remember, you still have legs, abs, delts, and guns, and I would not discourage you from hitting every single one of those individually week to week. Not too far in the future, I will show you some of those routines as well. For now, it's chesticles again, and as you can see, we're hitting high reps with just the barbell. As you know, we're getting warmed up, getting the blood pumped a bit, getting some practice and explosiveness in the muscles, letting those inferior support muscles know, hey, we're about to do some stuff, get ready. I personally like to get a barbell set of at least 30 to 40 reps in before I even think about adding plates. If I'm dragging a bit on certain days, I may even do more than one barbell set. So think about it, we're hitting on certain days 80 or even up to 100 reps with super light weight before we even start dipping into those carb reserves. It's total oxidation of postural support muscles right from the get-go. Now that you've seen a couple videos, you probably noticed that we hover around the whiteboard at the start. I like to discuss our plan of attack before we dive in, and yes, that plan of attack is adjusted week to week, depending on various things. Did a certain exercise feel pretty good last week and we want to keep rolling with it for a while? Did a certain exercise not connect too well, or is there a different exercise we want to try? Do we feel like we've burnt out a certain exercise or a series of exercises and we want to mix it up a bit? Most importantly, are we strength peaking or are we gunning for the hypertrophy? Lots of stuff to consider. If we're talking strength, then I generally like to follow a specific format. Warm it up, then pyramid up, then hit it hard with either high volume or high intensity or both. Those are your working sets. Then, if necessary, utilize some elective assistance tools to get even more volume in, and then hit the assistance exercises that pump blood back into the muscles. Bench press is a tough movement. It's technical and a bit dangerous. In my opinion, it's probably riskier than deadlifts and squats, which are generally the movements that a lot of people hide from. Why is the bench press dangerous? Well, it's a movement that places weight directly over a position with no real line of support. If the barbell falls, it's hitting your chest or diaphragm, or even your neck or lower chin. Beyond that, the bar path is only supported by the alignment of your arms, delts, scapula, and lats. And furthermore, the bar path actually travels from shoulder parallel to lower chest and back. So lots of components have to kind of agree with each other and work as one in order for a proper bench movement to be executed. The downside of not benching with proper form could be a ruined rotator, a torn pec, or worse. It takes lots and lots of practice, and benchers of all levels should really be patient and somewhat methodical about how the movement is approached. So that means taking your time when you lay down on the bench, adjusting yourself into the correct position using the bar, and a perpendicular grip, pulling your shoulders back below the chest, pinching your shoulder blades together and pushing your shoulders down, creating that anterior tilt in your lower back, tucking your elbows in as the bar is lowered. Some people describe this as bending the bar in half, and being mindful of the specific bar path that starts at shoulder parallel, ramping down to the lower chest in a straight line, and then ramping back up exactly the same way. It's a lot to think about when hundreds of pounds are bearing down on you. It's tough to maintain that sort of cognition. So this is why it's totally important to practice. Make it second nature. I think one of the biggest mistakes many lifters make, especially new lifters, is not practicing enough. If you're always hitting 90% or more, there's no way you're practicing the movement. You're definitely frying your CNS way too often, and furthermore, there's no real development of any postural support. At some point, something's gonna give, and no one wants to see what happens on that day, my friends. You want you, and we want you lifting as long as you possibly can. So the answer to your prayers is more reps. This is true, I think, for both powerlifters and bodybuilders. It has to be a process. You have to learn how to crawl, then walk, then run, and so on. Now, if you're hitting roadblocks like plateaus in hypertrophy or strength training, there are many ways to bust through. First, and this will be true in every scenario, is check your nutrition. Calculate your BMR, this will be an estimate of your maintenance number of calories, and start tracking what you're currently eating. Then you may need to adjust your caloric intake, either up or down, depending on what your goal is. Now, there's a lot of bogus info out there about shredding up, getting stronger, and losing fat all at once. I'm not saying this is not possible, but to all the everyday folk out there, it's damn hard. Without going into a calculation coma, the easiest way to state the principle of strength is you need to be in a caloric surplus. Odds are, if you're cutting calories so you can trim up, you're going to lose strength also. If you want to get stronger, start eating. If your nutrition is good, however, and you need a program to follow, I posted a very specific strength peaking routine on my official website under Mad Max's. Check that out if you haven't already. It delineates a 6-week peaking cycle. You can follow as many times as you want to inch up your percentages. Now, I have experimented with a lot of training programs, and I'd really like to share all of them with you. Unfortunately, tracking all of those, retesting them, and documenting them takes time. But hopefully I will eventually have a dense catalog of information to provide to you. As I mentioned previously, my crew and I are not running a specific peaking program currently. We're just keeping the volume high from week to week and training our bodies to oxidize for postural support and endurance while also developing strength density. Pretty soon, we'll probably run through a 6-week peak and you'll be able to follow along and see exactly how it's done. But hey, you might need longer to peak or shorter. That's cool. A 4-week peak is a good place for anyone to start. You can keep the numbers simple and gauge your strength from week 1 to week 4, no sweat. When that cycle runs thin, you can move up to a 6-week program. Eventually, you might even be tracking percentages over 10 to 12 weeks, maybe more. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. Incidentally, I would say, if possible, it's good to hit the same muscle group twice per week, unless you're really crushing them to hell. Don't forget that recovery, and as I said earlier, nutrition are their maximum important, and possibly even more important than training in the gym when it comes to you making progress. Every human being is different. Not a single one of us has the same physiological makeup. So you need to be the expert of your own body. Don't let me or anyone else tell you exactly what you should do to get stronger. Pick up the damn weights and give it a try. Then, as the week goes on, pay attention to how you feel and really pay attention. Don't hide from the pain or soreness. Embrace it. Describe it if you can. Visualize it if you can. Gauge it. Gauge how quickly your body is recovering, what it feels like. Take a measured approach and make adjustments when things don't work out the way you want them to. And stay patient. We need methodology. As you can see here, we hit up those reverse grip benches again after we finished up our flat bench split. I really like these. I'm pretty happy that Kellen recommended them. Getting a good tricep pump is a big favorite of mine, and having nice thick triceps is not only necessary when you're looking to move a lot of weight, it looks fantastic. We moved the weight up a bit this week. Last week we were hitting a bunch of reps with 95 pounds, and this week it's 135. Now, the overall volume of our flat bench routine last week was much higher than it was this week, so pushing the envelope with the tricep portion of the routine was totally warranted, I think. I knocked these out with, I think, 12 reps per set. Dr. No and Kellen were aiming for 5 to 6 reps, so they were definitely training for tricep strength at a high percentage like that. So after the mass builder movements were wrapped up, we went for isolation and hypertrophy again. 3 sets of incline dumbbell flies. Squeeze it at the top. With any exercise you do, make sure you're focusing on the form, the range of motion, and the squeeze. It will only benefit you more to send those brain signals to the muscles at the top of the movement and really press your pectorals together as much as you can. Make the most of your sessions and you'll see bigger and more pronounced results. We also hit up the underhanded flies again, looking to get all of the muscle fibers of the pec involved in the day's work, and that's certainly another point to consider. Your pectorals are a series of fibers running from your sternum to your deltoid on either side in horizontal and acute angles. If you ever notice that you are plateauing in chest development, you might want to consider changing the angle of attack, or at least incorporating new ones. You want to hit that full spiral of muscle and get all the strings tight and playing the right tune. And speaking of tunes, you can see Kellen and I trying to harmonize our rep counts for Dr. No's underhanded fly set. We definitely sound amazing. I don't know why a studio hasn't picked us up yet. Those producers are really missing out. And we concluded the session with chest pulls. Lots of bodybuilders use these to help with diaphragm expansion and chest development. It's really easy to want to pull with your triceps, but you shouldn't. You should try your best to access the pec major, your upper chest, pull the weight over you, try your best to minimize the use of the triceps, but of course, if you start to get gassed, it's totally okay to use them a bit as a secondary muscle for the sake of pumping out a few more reps. That does it for today. I'm following a Monday-Thursday upload schedule for now. More content of different kinds, including supplement reviews, more equipment reviews, training opinion vlogs, informational vlogs. They're all in development. I also have really exciting news that I want to share with everyone soon, and I really can't wait to bring you some of the content about that news as well. So check back regularly, my friends. For now, I'm Leah Jung. Remember that it's never too late to lose some weight. Have a nice day and stay pumped.